Okay, remember that they are changing my voice in a vain attempt to discredit me. This video is another video about why I am reliable. This is important. You would find that if people made their arguments as to why they would argue they're reliable, and you were to break them down carefully, you would see that they're not reliable, and I am. So I have 11 points for you. The first one is that, I started making videos on August 31st, 2009. That was my first official video. And in 2010, I went back to college. Okay. And, I was sabotaged and all kinds of drama was occurring. And the program was a little bit over 4 years. I didn't start at the beginning of 2014, so I graduated like at the beginning of 2015 or so. So like in 4.5 years or so, because the program was like 4 years and 2 months or something. And I had just, some kind of setbacks along the way because I was being persecuted. And keep in mind, I have 23 witnesses to being persecuted. So it's very foolish to say that magically I'm talking crazy, right? Which is stupid. It's stupid to say that. Why? Because I've been saying things, similar things. I've been saying, my message has been consistent, okay, the whole time. And I've started making videos in 2009. And I was in college from 2010 to 2015. And in 2009, it wasn't long before, I started, I went to some kind of orientation thing or something at the beginning of 2010. So just a couple months later, right? So I was of the same state of mind in 2010 when I started going to college that I was in 2009, August 31st. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So how did I graduate if I'm magically crazy? How did I graduate if magically I supposedly have schizophrenia or something? You see what I'm saying? So I have to be taken seriously. And I'm the son of 2 doctors. One is a brain surgeon and a humanitarian who came here penniless and worked his way up, like father, like son, right? And I'm his namesake. So now we see my second point. Okay. I started a sparring challenge, a legal and peaceful sparring challenge in 2013, December 20th, also while I was in college. The sparring challenge began when I was in college, okay? And it was the second one. I made an initial challenge in 2012 on May 4th, 2012. And then the next challenge was for everybody in 2013, December 20th, 2013. Okay. So the first challenger came after a lot of people flaked in 2015. Okay, and I beat him. I beat him even though I'm sabotaged and fumed and poisoned with many witnesses. In 2016, I believe in 17, the rest of the challengers came. There'll be a total of 5 or 6, depending on how you count them. I think the last one actually came when I was severely sabotaged, if you count this person, in 2017 or 18 or so. Okay, so I was just interrupted, right, by some loud music, and it was obviously deliberate. That's also how you know that I'm reliable, because I'm sabotaged, right? And, it says in Matthew 5, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so going on to point 3. Okay, so the videos I made in 2017 to 2021, you can tell that I'm sound, I'm of sound mind, and I'm reliable by the titles. I made, by the time we get to 2021 or so, okay, I've made like over 10,000 videos. And you can look at the titles, and there's lots of Christian scriptures that are posted in pictures. There's lots of sound titles. You can tell that it reflects lots of research and is put together masterfully. And I go on and on about how they're sabotaging me and changing my pictures, and I have a lot of witnesses by then. I think the majority of my witnesses, in fact, I'm sure of it, came before 2021. So I'm saying, they're editing my pictures, they're filming me, and they're poisoning me, and I have witnesses to all that stuff. Okay, and witnesses then sabotaging me and harassing me in person and so on and so forth. And I also have a phone call I recorded where I reported it to the police. I have letters that I've shown that I've written to the Justice Department and so on and so forth. So it's well documented that I have witnesses. I've told that to the Justice Department, told that to the police, what have you. Okay, and they're on record. You see what I'm saying? So it's clear that you can rely on me for that. I mean, I'm not going to tell the police I have these witnesses if I don't have them. And of course, I have the videos posted right now. You just ask and I'll show you. And I've actually reposted on some of my other channels some of these videos as well. So they're posted in more than one place, etc. Okay. So that was point number 4, the 23 witnesses. Point number 5. Oh, excuse me. No, that was I was talking about point number 3, right? The videos and the titles. And so point number 4 is the 23 witnesses. Point number 5, the nature of the topic, okay, and the history of things. So we see that people who talk about the types of things that I talk about tend to be persecuted. And the people who don't aren't as great. So you're not going to rely on somebody who's not persecuted for righteousness, right? It says in Paul's letters, all who wish to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted. So if somebody's not persecuted, they're not living a godly life. And they have to really be persecuted, like I have been. I've been persecuted to the extreme. Been detained by police, been fumed and poisoned. I have no criminal record, and no one, you'll be hard-pressed to find anyone with no criminal record who has more police contact than I have. Okay? It's unbelievable. So it's clear that I am persecuted, fumed, and poisoned, and I have no reason to make that stuff up. And it's obvious that that's what happens. If somebody was acting like a gangster, for example, their whole life in the most violent city in the world, where there's tons of gang violence, and they said, hey, they got beat up or shot one day, you'd believe them. If somebody goes on and on about how the Chinese government is corrupt in China, and they got imprisoned, okay, and they told you that, you'd believe them. You saw the evidence of them going on about it, you say, that's what happens. You have no reason not to believe them. If somebody goes on and on about how America is wrong, and its allies, and how every political party's wrong, where you see all this political harassment and stuff going on, okay, and he has thousands of videos, you say that person's going to face consequences for that. And you look at my videos, a lot of these videos just have 1 or 2 or 3 views, okay? They're suppressed. People aren't rallying to me. They're not following me. I don't have a big following. Why on earth would the government pay someone to say these things, which are obviously true, okay, when they don't even have a big following, and it goes on and continues for years and years and years? So obviously I'm reliable, and I'm uncontrolled opposition when you do all the math. Not just what I just said, but all the math. Okay. Point number 7. Workplace bullying is commonly understood to occur. And we see lots of people pretending that people aren't bullied and harassed, when we see in the Justice Department statistics that there's like 4 million cases of stalking every year, and 1 million cases of stalking every year, okay, are group stalking. That's approaching 100,000 cases a month of group stalking in America. And you have people acting like I'm crazy for saying that groups of people are stalking and harassing me. Okay, so who's reliable? The guy telling the truth about it, or the masses of people who aren't? Point number 8. When we look at the protests, okay, we look at the responses to them. There's people who are rich in the alumni associations that are withholding donations to their colleges because of that they don't like what's going on with the political activity there, right? Protests are highly political, as you must know. They're highly social, political, economic, and they have kind of romantic relations, there are implications in regards to romantic relations, right? Who dates who? Largely depends on what people have in common, their points of view, what have you. I've even seen shirts where people, people sell shirts that says that they only date Republicans or they only date Democrats, what have you. Okay, so we see the response. We see political groups, we see social groups, we see social media explode, we see people exchanging nasty comments, people getting into fights. Okay, so it's clear that as groups, people harass people and beat people up and do all kinds of unsavory things to people over their arguments. But I've been standing firm, 10 toes down, saying the most controversial things like in human history, because the truth is very controversial, okay, with basically nobody backing me up. I go out every day making videos. People know where to find me. Okay, and I stand 10 toes down with nothing but heart and loyalty to God, with nothing but the true Spirit of God inside of me. And it should be easy for you to make that distinction. In fact, in the Bible, it says, why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? That's what it says. It says the throne is established in righteousness. That's also what it says, Proverbs 16:12. So I've established the throne of reliability, of divinity, of righteousness, of being the true natural leader of all humanity with my righteous acts and my legal and peaceful top martial arts challenge, which goes beyond David beating Goliath. It's one thing to use a sling and a stone to strike somebody in the head. One could chop that up to a lucky strike, a lucky shot. And that gave him the throne. That gave him the clear path to the throne and his military campaigns, which wasn't exactly single combat after single combat. But my top martial arts challenge, legal and peaceful, mind you, is the most impressive martial art event in human history. And I have demonstrations where I do world record speed. And fumed and poisoned and sabotaged at a time which is the pinnacle of martial arts when I first started it, because now people are acting like kind of weenies or something, but back then they weren't so much. There was a lot of serious martial artists when I was making my challenges in 2012 and 2013, and there's almost 8 billion people on the planet. That's far more than there were in ancient Egypt, or in ancient China, or in feudal Japan, or whatever, okay? This challenge was a place where there's airplanes, people have state-of-the-art technology, and I triumphed. And there's representatives from every major martial art system were well aware of my challenge, well aware. The government was well aware. And their massive network includes all the martial art groups that they allow. If you think about it, governments aren't going to allow people to teach martial arts to just anybody in just any way. They want it to go a certain way. So all the martial arts schools can be seen as complicit with the state. Point number 9, speaking of that, when you look at the history of the Cold War, and the Wikipedia has a pretty good article, I'm sure if you do your research, you'll find that their arguments are sound. It says that part of the Cold War was the weapons, the arms race. It was psychological operations. Again, psychological operations on record are part of the Cold War, and we still have a Cold War with China and North Korea and Russia, etc. going on. Proxy war was part of it. Ukraine, a proxy. And part of it was sports rivalry. It's astounding, right? Look at the article. It says part of the Cold War was sports rivalry. Martial arts is the bell that rings the loudest. Has implications on military prowess, has implications on mind, body, soul, and spirit. David and Goliath, Hector and Achilles, okay, Horus versus Set, and go on and on. Look at the Hindu systems. In Kali, even a female with all these swords. Sekhmet, a female warrior, relative to their mythological systems. So sports rivalry, martial arts is the bell that rings the loudest in sports rivalry. Does Michael Jordan have a bunch of movies about himself? Or does Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee? Okay, a bunch of movies where, they are action heroes. Okay. America has the most martial arts schools in the world. Wisdom is proven right by her deeds, is what the Bible says. And my deeds are the greatest spiritual deeds ever possible. Because due to tech, breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gains, no one will ever be able to match or one-up my top martial arts challenge, which is legal and peaceful. Point number 10 is the difference between being sabotaged and being privileged. Right now, there's all kinds of people in gated communities. They take private martial art instructors, and I could beat them blindfolded with one hand tied behind my back, fumed and poisoned. They're privileged, and I'm sabotaged. And they cannot beat me. It's the difference between my father as a brain surgeon, sabotaged, came here penniless, homeless, worked his way up, versus some privileged guy in some gated community, perhaps using technology to cheat, brain hacking, who knows? Transhumanism, who knows? We'll see. Point number 11. We see that anyone who sins, according to the Bible, is a slave to sin. And it says the truth shall set you free. Have you ever even come across anyone in your entire life that insists on the truth more than I do? and in a way that they must take serious. I'm the son of 2 doctors, a brain surgeon's son. In your own culture, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, like father, like son. How can you not take me seriously? I do not take anyone seriously who doesn't take a brain surgeon's son seriously when that brain surgeon came here penniless and worked his way up. If you do not take me seriously, the masses of people do not take you seriously, and you must be fucking crazy or something. The truth will set you free. Not some kind of dumb fuck who doesn't take the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon, and, who's his father and he's his namesake of. I'm his namesake. Seriously. That buffoon who doesn't take me seriously will not set you free. God and I are the truth, and we set you free. It caused me to stumble on my words, and the truth is they are fuming me right now. And playing stupid about that will not set you free. The truth will set you free. The truth is I am the top martial artist ever possible. And playing stupid about that and the sabotage which caused minor, discrepancies in my video, very minor, ever so minor. Minor mistakes over 15 years and 15,000 videos. While I'm fumed, poisoned, harassed, persecuted, threatened, sexually harassed, assaulted with technology, I made a few minor discrepancies and mistakes that I've cleared up 100%. The truth will set you free. And I am the truth.